Unless lessons provoke change, they are only lessons identified, not learned. It is with this opening I welcome you all to the 14th edition of Quest, the Anti-Glutophobia, reaching here live on Multimedia Plus online television and of course our Facebook page, the Anti-Glutophobia Academy. I am your host, Augustine Martinez. In today's discussion, the topic is how to motivate and influence your audience in public speaking. And of course, I'm having a fine gentleman who will be helping me out in discussing or lay more emphasis on this topic. He is an entrepreneur. He is also a business development and private sector expert. And also, he is an educator and a mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers and listeners, I introduce to you Mr. Hamid Mara. Mr. Hamid Mara, welcome to Quest the Anti-Glutophobia, here live on Multimedia Plus online television. It has been a great pleasure having you here today, sir.
Thank you very much, Augustine, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. The topic is how to influence and motivate your audience in public speaking. That is why I'm having Mr. Hamid Mara here today to discuss on this topic. So fast forward, as the first question is, why is it important to motivate and inspire your audience in public speaking, to be precise?
Thank you very much, Augustine. Firstly, I must say that what you're doing is highly commendable, and the inspiration you're bringing to the youth of this country is unrivaled. So thank you very much and keep it up.
Thank you so much, humble.
Speech is power. Speech is to persuade, to convert, and to compel. These are the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson. And so if you're a believer like me, there is no denying that both are faith, as in the Quran and the Bible. If you're a believer like me, then there is no overemphasizing how much both the Bible and the Quran, our two faith in this country, speak highly of using our tongue and our speech power to motivate.
Okay.
The Quran is clear on the fact that there is so much power in the tongue to make or break life. In fact, in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 263, the Quran says that a kind word with forgiveness is better than alms given.
Okay.
But the Bible likewise in Proverbs 15, verse 4 says, a soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. These are really strong words. And the Bible further wants to say in Colossians that let your conversation be always full of grace and seasoned with salt. It's very clear then that these two faiths that we share in the country does not only emphasize the need and the value of using our speech power to motivate and uplift, but it also encourages us to do so with swag and style. It clearly says, like, let it be seasoned with salt. And so there is so much importance in using our speech power, our daily words. It doesn't really have to be public speaking always, but each time you open your mouth to speak, be conscious of the fact that your words can make or break. And when you do get the opportunity to stand on a bigger platform, as in you are a public speaker, then that gives you a bigger opportunity and responsibility to then make or break a lot of people that will be part of your audience. And so with these words, I would say our everyday life, everything we stand to achieve revolves around our speech power. If you go to college, if you are educated, if you are trained, if you are uneducated, if you cannot master the art of communicating, passing on your message, uplifting and motivating people, you haven't succeeded in life yet.
Interesting. That is a clear manifestation to say that you need public speaking in whatever you're doing, and more especially to motivate and influence your audience. In taking into cognizance the second question here says that, is there any techniques in influencing an audience that are having a different background, ideology or so?
When I mentor people in public speaking, my favorite line is, I'll say, be honest,
okay,
be brief,
okay,
and be seated.
Okay.
Well, of course, we're seated.
Okay.
This seems like a one-liner, but it goes a long way to then embody the spirit of communicating to a diverse range of audience.
Okay.
You really have to learn to detach from the speech, but as much as you stay in the speech.
Okay.
What I mean you detach is that you recognize that the speech is not about you. It's about the message you're passing on to your audience. And therefore, who your audience are, their background, their beliefs should not matter.
Okay.
What should matter is first the content of your message.
Okay.
But in fact, before that, the objective of the message you want to pass on.
Okay.
And I'll say if you are passing on any information or speaking to a diverse audience, then you have a responsibility to first research
Okay.
this audience,
Okay.
understand what things are from their perspective,
Okay.
be very sensitive to their beliefs,
Okay.
be sensitive to their norms, their practices, and then tone your speech to embody the spirit of tolerance and acceptance. Show them that you feel part of them, and you understand and you get their point. Once you're able to communicate to people from a perspective they can understand, they begin to feel like you are among them, and it becomes very easier for you to pass your message. And they give you their ears, but they give you a lot more than that. They give you their heart, and they basically give you their trust.
Okay.
And until your audience can trust you, you're not going to achieve your ultimate objective of speaking, which is basically to influence and touch lives.
Okay.
Because they need to trust you first. Before then, they are willing to take on board your message
Okay.
and put them into practice.
Okay.
So obviously, the key words for me then will be first, understand your audience,
Okay.
understand your subject,
Okay.
understand their different backgrounds and sentiments, and when you speak, be sure that you're able to relate to, their specific and different orientations.
Okay. It makes absolute sense. It makes absolute sense. I can still retrospect. I think it was Donald Trump. He went to India and he went there to give a speech by saying, when he started his speech with the greetings of Indian by saying Namaste, and immediately he captivates the attention of the audience, and the people were so much happy for him and the likes of it. So you see, this makes absolute sense. As you earlier mentioned, you need to get to study your audience and also study your context, and also, it makes absolute sense so far. And the other question here says that does one need to attain the highest level of education, or probably the know-how in motivating or influencing any audience so far?
In the words of Seth Godin, he's a very renowned entrepreneur and speaker,
Okay.
and he says, "You're not being judged. The value of what you're bringing to the audience is being judged."
Okay.
I said earlier on, even though you want to be vested and be in your spirit in your speech,
Okay.
you also need to learn to detach.
Okay.
It's not about you, it's about the message you are passing on. And so when you step on the stage, people are not more concerned about, oh, that's Martin. He
Okay.
has a degree, he has a PhD, or he's XYZ.
Okay.
They are concerned more, and especially as you will learn in the next minutes once you start your speech, their concern will be more about the content of the message you're passing on to them and how you're passing on that message.
Okay.
Some of the best speakers I've seen are uneducated people. These are people who, their speech power is rooted in practice and experience, but also the humility of trying to relate to different people and understanding people's background.
Okay.
And when you speak, one of the best ways you can really captivate your audience, we'll come to learn later
Okay.
on the program, is that you're able to bring on board instances from experience. So you don't necessarily need to have a degree to bring on board experience.
Okay.
One of my favorite speakers and heroes in the world is my mom.
Okay.
My mom is virtually uneducated,
Okay.
but she's been going places since I was 20 years old, speaking
Wow. Okay.
speaking across different continents and countries when her English is not even top notch. But the value of the experience she brings
Matters.
is really what makes the difference. My mom has got invitations to do presentations at universities
Wow.
in the past. These are an uneducated woman,
Okay.
but that brings on board the
Experience.
value of high quality, top notch experience based on failing, learning, excelling, and performing at the highest level in agriculture.
Okay.
So you need not be somebody who is highly educated. You need not be someone who holds a degree. However, you have to be somebody who've practiced the
Okay.
comfort of speaking and communicating.
Okay.
Communication itself is a skill. You need to practice and learn that. It's not doesn't necessarily mean that you need to get a degree, but you need to practice the art of speaking and communicating.
Thank you so much. That was an interesting answer so far. And come again to think of introverts, people who are introverts, who will think these people are conservative or so. Can they really be influential speakers?
So, really, not just public speaking. A lot of fears we carry around are actually in our mind. They're not a reflection of our potential or ability. It's just our perception of fear.
Okay.
I mean, picture yourself in a room speaking with your friends. You'll be very comfortable. In fact, you may be the most talkative. You will feel at ease and relaxed.
Sure.
That's almost the same when you do public speaking. The only difference is that the moment you stand up to speak, you become too conscious of the fact that you're speaking in front of an audience. I'll give you an example from my personal experience. Growing up, I grew up to be maybe the most, like the shyest guy around. I used to be really shy of almost anything that could lead into embarrassment or turn out to be any form of rejection. Like rejection used to be my biggest fear, and I was so shy. As a result, when you grow up, you begin to talk to girls, hang out with girls. If I'm talking to a girl, I cannot be seen with you in public. I become so ashamed. If you come to visit or I go to visit, I don't want to walk with you on the street because everyone that looks at us, I'm like, oh, so you don't have a girlfriend, or do you think this is my girlfriend? But then I realize when I walk around with my sisters, my cousins, my just colleagues who I'm not talking to in that sense, I'm very comfortable. I'm like, okay, the same people are looking at me. And matter of fact, they will be thinking they're my girlfriends too. Why am I not shy now or worried or scared now? Then it occurred to me that it's always in my mind. It's in my mind that each time I walk with somebody I'm talking to in that kind of sense, I become too conscious. And then one day I said, okay, I'm going to walk with this girl, but then I'm sure for all they care, she's my sister. Or maybe she's my friend. That would be their mindset, right?
Okay.
And then I was able to walk around with a girl confidently without worrying and just thinking, oh, they'll just think she's my sister.
Okay.
And then that was how I basically overcame the fear. And then it occurred to me, okay, so what if they even think it's my girlfriend? That's fine. They would think anyway. I mean, no matter who I'm walking around with, as long as it's a girl, people are going to think anyway. So why bother you? You see, this trick is something I have used to overcome a lot of my fears down the line, right?
Okay.
When you trick your mind, or basically you say to yourself, this fear only exists in my mind, you easily overcome that fear. When you step on that podium, on that stage, you gotta be confident and tell yourself, this is just like when I'm in my room talking to my friends. I'm gonna kill this speech as I kill speeches when I speak to my friends. I'm going to be as relaxed and comfortable as when I talk to my peers and my friends.
Yeah.
Saying this to yourself doesn't necessarily solve the problem. And if I tell you once you do this once, it's done, it's a setup. But if you make this a practice, if you keep reminding yourself about this constantly, over time you realize that all your fears begin to dissipate in thin air. Not just with public speaking, but all the other fears you have are actually in your mind. It's your perception. Let go those perceptions and fears, and then you realize that speaking in public will become as easy as when you talk to your peers. And once you're able to build that comfort and ease and feel relaxed, you then give your best speeches. You really need to be relaxed and connect and feel at ease for you to really pass on your message at a top-notch level and also be the incredible speaker that you are. I mean, I believe that the Almighty gave all of us speech power. Even those who cannot speak have speech power, because then they can do gestures, they can make signs, and
sure.
there's so much power in those signs they can make if they can only own the process, settle in their disposition and spirit, and do it with confidence, ease, and relax.
Okay, great. As I stated earlier on, I'm learning a lot, and I do believe the audience out there are learning a lot as well. So now, this is going to be the second to last question per se, yeah, which has to do with the main topic of discussion. How can really one influence or motivate the audience?
Obviously, it takes a combination of skills and attributes that you need to embody in your speech in order for you to be able to motivate and influence your audience each time you speak. I'm going to try to see how I can break them down in different steps. The first point for me is you must seek to educate.
Seek to educate, okay.
When you step up there, each time you're given the opportunity to speak, you must be sure that you're able to provide your audience with extensive information on the subject matter.
Okay.
Show that you understand your content, make references, and demonstrate that what you, in fact, not just demonstrate, ensure that your audience walk away with something from your speech. They learn something from your speech.
Okay.
The second point is you must seek to entertain.
Okay.
In as much as you pass on a top-notch, credible, and good information and maybe new learning, try to do so with humor.
Okay. It's like
Right.
Okay.
Basically, get your audience involved. Be honest. Feel free and speak about things that can bring smile to the faces of your audience. Right. I'm sure right now somebody's going to say, okay, you've been on that platform for like maybe 10 minutes now. We haven't smiled yet. Don't worry, the joke is coming.
Sure.
Anyway, demonstrate your experience. I mean, what I just did moments ago is to answer your question
Okay.
from a personal experience,
Sure.
right? One of the best ways to pass on your information is to use your experiences to demonstrate. You build confidence better, you build trust, and you're able to connect with your audience when you basically draw things from experience. When you speak, be enthusiastic. Nobody wants to listen to a boring, sleepy speaker,
Speech,
right?
sure.
But anyway, forget about people. If you really believe what you're saying, you have to be passionate.
Like
And when
sure.
you're passionate, it resonates, it shows. Be enthusiastic. Let it show. Let it show. I mean, my impression is that we've been quite enthusiastic on this panel today.
Surely.
Let it show, because this also affects your audience's enthusiasm and spirit and interest in listening to you. Obviously, when you speak, it's always important for you to draw on examples.
Okay.
Make examples. Well, of course, I love my mom, so I just made an example of my mom.
Surely.
But I mean, it doesn't always have to be your mom or somebody you love, but always give people a hero. Give them a benchmark. Give them something to look up to and say, oh yeah, that person, yeah. If they can do it, I can do it too.
Sure.
Also seek to encourage.
Okay.
Right. Be positive. Let your speech embody a very strong element of positivism. Encourage your audience. Show them you believe in them. Show them that you genuinely believe they will achieve it. Be honest, be realistic, but uplift. Seek to encourage and uplift. And I think a lot of you who are listening to us right now, if we can do this, so can you. You
Surely.
can do this as
Surely.
well.
Yeah.
Right? You need to seek to encourage.
Okay.
Obviously, demonstrate excellence. Hold yourself to the highest standard.
Okay.
I mean, when I was coming here to speak, I prepared my speech,
Sure.
basically.
Sure.
Not necessarily, I didn't write down my speech, but I wrote down bullet
Different
points.
points,
I thought about it,
Yeah.
right? Because I want to excel when I do
You-
speak on this platform.
Okay.
Don't be arrogant, because being excellent doesn't mean you know it all.
Oh,
It
yeah.
means you prepare each time because you want to be at your best.
Sure.
I mean, there is a story of John F. Kennedy, who's renowned as one of the best speakers in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was passing by his house and he was prepping for a speech, and he was saying, when I came here today, I didn't know I was going to give a speech. So this is him preparing to come and tell you during the speech that he didn't know he was going to give a speech, but he's even preparing to
Now.
tell you that. And so when he killed that speech, you're gonna be like, this guy is so good. He didn't even know he was going to do a speech. He prepped, even telling you that. This is John F. Kennedy. Now, who are you not to prepare? If you really want to excel, you have to prepare.
Okay.
I mean, one of my favorite movies is a Hindi movie titled Three Idiots.
Okay.
And one of my favorite quotes is from Three Idiots, and it says, follow excellence,
Okay.
and success will chase you pants down. Once you excel, everything will come after you.
Surely.
Success will come after you.
Surely.
So try to excel when you speak. Be at your very best. And the best way to do that is to prepare. So closely linked to excellence is my next one, which is expertise.
Expertise. Okay.
Demonstrate that you know your stuff.
Okay.
Right? I'm always uneasy when people ask me to speak on a subject matter that I don't know quite well.
Okay.
And usually I'll ask for more time,
Okay.
because I really want to be
Give your
on
best.
top of my game and understand that subject.
Okay.
When I speak on things that are my expertise, I'm at ease. I can take an appointment within really short notice, instantaneously, because that's my subject matter.
Okay.
If it's something strange, I wouldn't say no, because I enjoy learning new things, but I'll need a bit more time to actually understand that subject matter and prepare,
Okay.
because I want to demonstrate my expertise.
Okay.
Even if I'm not a doctor, if you ask me to speak on health-related matters, when I'm up that stage, I want to sound like a doctor.
Interesting.
I want to demonstrate that you can trust me, right?
Okay.
I don't want you to start doubting that, oh, he doesn't know anything about medicine. Why should I listen to him?
Yeah.
At least for that 10 minutes I'm on that stage, I want you to be confident enough to trust my expertise on that particular subject matter.
Okay.
The other point is, earlier on we were talking about being educated, and I said you don't necessarily have to be. However, you need to be eloquent. Now, eloquence is very critical in captivating your audience. So whether you're giving a speech in Creole, in English, or whatever language, be eloquent. And if you feel you're going to struggle speaking in a particular language, opt for one that you really understand. I mean, oftentimes a lot of people kill their speech power when they, for example, forced to speak in English, when they're a lot more comfortable to speak in either Creole, Mende, Limba, or Fula or Timene. That's what you're comfortable in. Speak in that language. Now, we used to have a lecturer that people used to bash a lot, and most times he would say, I'm not an Englishman. I'm not an Englishman. And so most times when I want to relate things to you, I bring them down to a language that can allow me, like my L1, that can allow me to really give you specific examples. I mean, back then we all used to laugh, if I'm honest enough. But over the years, I realized the value and start to appreciate that approach to some extent, right? The key is to be eloquent and pass your message. And finally, every speech you give is a mission. You have to treat your speech as such. You're not just on that stage, you're not just sitting on that chair, on that high table, just to speak, just for people to hear you. You should have an objective and end result. What is your end game? It has to be that you want to give your audience something they can take. And so always when you end your speeches, it's always good to end on a note where you can first challenge your audience. Encourage them to take risk. Let them know you believe in them and encourage them to believe in themselves. Let them walk away with something new and feel energized to practice at least one of the things you've said. You really, when I started earlier on, I said speech is power. Speech is to convert, is to compel. When you step on that stage, on that high table, your objective should be to convert, to compel, to educate, to inform, to uplift, and to encourage people who can walk away bearing in mind some of the things you've said, but also having an effective desire to put those things into practice.
It has been a very educative session here with you today. And the last question here today is that now you've been into the field of public speaking for quite a long time, speaking to a lot of people to be precise. Yeah. So what would you motivate or inspire other people who are out there who are imagined speakers who want to become public speakers and also they want to change narrative utilizing their different voices?
So there is a saying that the human brain starts to work the moment you're born and never stops until you stand up to speak in public.
Ooh.
I believe this has happened to many of us, to many of you out there watching this program. And the likelihood for this to continue to happen will always be there until you start preparing effectively for your speeches. What we used to do back in the day is to just memorize and cram our speeches. The moment you step on the stage, it blazes you, like it's gone for good. And that is why if you've been with us from the beginning, if you're able to embody all the steps I just highlighted in the last question, then all you need to do is practice to do that each time, every time, and do so effectively. I just told you a story about John F. Kennedy. That's one of the best speakers of all time. He used to prepare even to come tell you that I didn't know I was going to give a speech. It tells you that you cannot be arrogant. If you're a speaker out there, first, you've learned from this program, I hope, that you don't need to be the most educated person in the room. You don't necessarily need to be a natural, as in somebody who was bold from the get-go. I just told you that I was probably the shyest person. I'm still shy. People who are close to me will tell you a lot of things I am not comfortable to do in public, right? So I do them in private, but I'm not comfortable to do them in public. I'm a very shy person. It's so hard to believe nowadays if you just know me in the public sphere. But I've been struggling with my shyness, my timidity, if I'm honest, and I've been trying to overcome that. Even as recently as maybe a couple of years ago, when I start speaking, my first few words, my voice trembles, right? And if you're observant, you feel like I'm a bit shy. So that's not a problem. It's in all of us. All of us have our lapses and downsides. All you need to do starting today is to start working on those downsides. If I could do it, so can you. You can do it as well. Practice. Practice. Every day you wake up, pick a topic. Just randomly. Tell somebody, give me a topic, give me a name. And then you just formulate a quick speech, a mock speech from that particular topic or word. Do so at least once a week. Take your opportunity to stand up and speak. Don't just speak because you want to be heard. Think of something constructive and meaningful, because each time you speak and you get applauded, people recognize the value of what you say, it reinforces your confidence. But even if it doesn't happen, don't despair. Don't give up. Keep trying, keep practicing. You don't necessarily need to be the most educated person. You don't need to be a natural. Anyone and every one of us can be a good speaker. And you need to be. Why? Because every day in our lives, we need to communicate. No matter where you find yourself, whether you're the boss, you're the director, you're the driver, you're the servant, you need to learn to communicate effectively. Communication can break barriers. Effective communication can open doors. One way you can distinguish yourself from everyone in your particular field of work sphere, is basically how you communicate. How you pass on your stuff, your message, can make you stand out of the crowd, stand out of your peers, and be way ahead of the competition. So I challenge you today. What are you waiting for? I did it. I'm still learning to do it even more effectively and better than I already am. So can you. So I believe Augustine here and the anti-glossophobia movement are here to help you perfect your speech. I'm quite sure that those are open for anyone who wants to reach out and need help in improving your speech power. But you need to learn to improve your speech power, because every day of your life you're going to be communicating to people. And the better you communicate, the more you can excel and be impactful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hamid Mara. It has been a great pleasure having you today. Yeah. I have learned a lot, and I do believe the audience out there as well have learned a lot. Yeah. So this is how we are going to draw down the curtains of this edition of Coast, the Anti-Glossophobia TV series, 14th edition to be precise. I have been your host, Augustine Martinez.